They told me that they really had changed as people, but now, by not taking that post down, I was ruining my dad's reputation as well without even giving him a chance to prove that he had changed. And now I'm kind of confused because I really don't want to take that post down. At the same time, I don't understand what to do with the situation regarding my parents. So Ida for not wanting to take down a Facebook post against my brother, even though it's ruining my dad's reputation? Update 1. Hello. So a couple of things before I move on to the update, the first being that my dad has retired from the force. He just crossed 55 recently and announced his retirement around the same time, even though it's not exactly mandatory for him right now. But he's been having a lot of problems with his heart, so he decided to take an early retirement. This happened just a couple of months ago, and I found out about it from other family members. But he still has connections with his colleagues on the force, and I know for a fact that if he wanted to, he definitely would have been able to bail my brother out. Besides, I think posting it on Facebook did a lot more damage to my brother's reputation, and that's exactly what I had wanted. So I don't really regret not calling the cops on him. I think I did the right thing. And coming to Jackson and what kind of drugs he was taking, I'm not really sure about that, but all I know is that none of what he was doing was legal. Not just drugs, but he's also involved in a lot of other shady things. Because I know, for a fact, that he hasn't worked since his business flopped a couple of years back, and yet, he has still managed to be able to pay rent and live in an apartment of his own. Of course, it's very likely that my parents have been supporting him financially, but even then, I'm sure that they haven't been giving him money to party, and his Instagram feed is just full of pictures of him, living it up with his friends. I don't know exactly what he's involved in, but I know that it can't be anything good, because if he has been able to raise money for himself without working hard, I'm pretty sure he's doing something illegal and dishonest, and my dad has been helping him cover it up. So he's not really the honest and upright cop that he has been pretending to be for everyone else, and that's why I don't see any reason for me to take that post down and protect his reputation. They did have a valid point, that they had tried to contact me several times in the past couple of years, but the reason that I had never accepted their attempts to contact me was because I had always known that for them, my brother was more of a priority than me. And even in this current situation, it was the truth. They claimed that they had cut off, but still spoke to him, so they could get me to take the post down. So they didn't really cut him off, and what they said to me was pointless. I was a bit confused at the time because I was feeling a lot of mixed emotions, but after reading the comments on my post, I realized that I didn't really have to take that post down. My family deserves every bit of the hate that they are getting right now. They have brought it onto themselves, and I'm not the bad guy in this situation in the slightest. So it's been 9 days now and the post is still up. I got my car repainted already. I didn't think there was any point in waiting for my parents or my brother to cough up the money that they owed me. And besides, it was not about money for me in the first place. I think I have made that very clear, but in spite of that, my brother has not given up. Jackson keeps texting me again and again, saying that he really is sorry and that he's ready to send me whatever amount I ask for, which is just another indicator that he's definitely involved in something shady, because otherwise, where is he getting that money from? Since my parents just told me that they have cut him off, I'm pretty sure they're not giving him the money. Anyway, he keeps texting me and I just have to keep ignoring it because all I want is an apology, and a public one at that. And unless and until I get one, that post is staying up. At this point, even if I do take it down, it's going to be pretty pointless because everyone has seen it. The entire family has ostracized Jackson and my parents, literally not one person wants to speak to them anymore. As for whoever went to school with us, most of them have reached out to tell me that they are not surprised that Jackson turned out like this. He had always been a bit of a brat and thought that he could always get away with everything. And he could, that was true. But not this time, unfortunately for him. The only people who have not spoken to me after that last phone call are my parents, and I genuinely have no idea what they have been up to. Truth be told, I really don't understand why it's so difficult for my family to just acknowledge and accept their mistakes and apologize for them to me. It's a very simple and reasonable condition, in my opinion, and yet they are acting as if I've asked for the world. It's really sad, but I'm not surprised that they are acting like this. They've always been this way, and I, for one, am glad that I got them 9 years back because they don't deserve to be a part of my life in the first place. Update 2. So my parents decided to pay me a visit today. But it was not just them who showed up, their family lawyer came along with them. My mom's older brother, my uncle, is a pretty great attorney, but I'm not sure why exactly he decided to be as coming along with my parents to visit and intimidate me. It was the weekend, so I was at home in the morning, when they came by. And then I saw them standing outside. I decided to invite them in because I was really curious about what they had to say. As soon as they were inside, my parents told me that they were there to talk about the post and said that they would be forced to file a defamation lawsuit against me if I did not take it down. I wish I could say that I felt threatened or intimidated in the slightest, but I was just amused that they thought that. Anyway, when they told me that they would be filing a lawsuit for defamation against me, my uncle decided to show me the paperwork for it, which had already been prepared by him. You know, just show me that they were serious about this and not just bluffing to scare me. Unfortunately, even the paperwork in the presence of a lawyer didn't scare me. I just told my parents that they were free to do whatever they wanted. In fact, I didn't even understand why they felt obliged to come to my home and give me a warning before they went through with the lawsuit. They had no need to do that, and after saying that, I told them that since they had made up their mind, they were free to leave because I had also made up my mind, and I was not going to go back on my word. So I was definitely not taking that post down until I had received a public apology from Jackson. But they refused to get up, they remained seated, and my dad tried to drive home the point that they were trying to make, that they were giving me a chance to avoid a lawsuit and a lot of trouble by just taking that stupid post down, and I needed to take it seriously instead of laughing it off. When I stayed silent and did not say anything, my dad decided to slam his fist against my coffee table, and that's what really pissed me off because it's very expensive and I did not want him to cause any damage to it. His son had already damaged my car, and I had to pay for it. I was not going to allow another one of those incidents to take place. So I told him to get out of my house because it was very obvious that neither he nor his son were capable of having a civilized conversation and acting like decent human beings, and I had absolutely no interest in interacting with them. My uncle said nothing but pulled my dad back, and my mother tried to salvage the situation by trying to reason with me. She was trying to bargain with me and kept saying that we could save a lot of time by just forgetting about that, and that could only happen if I deleted it. I did not even need to forgive them or whatever. But I had had enough. I just told him that I did not want to negotiate with them, and I honestly did not believe that they had the guts to go through with the lawsuit because that would create more trouble for them than it would for me. And most importantly, the thing about defamation lawsuits is that the entire basis of the lawsuit is that it's only valid if the other person is lying. Everyone knew that I wasn't lying, so filing a lawsuit against me would only bring out their truth, and I was all for it. Then my dad started screaming and cursing at me, and I lost my temper, so I reciprocated by doing the same thing. Naturally, it turned into a shouting match soon enough, and my dad got so worked up that he started punching the wall and was eventually able to make a hole in it. My uncle had tried to stop him from doing it, but there was no point. He had been trained as a cop, and it was actually pretty scary to watch him punch a hole in my wall, but after he was done, what he did was what pissed me off even more. He took out a wad of cash from his wallet, threw it onto my coffee table, and then walked out after saying that I could contact him if I needed more. It was incredibly disturbing and disrespectful to me, and it was then that I decided that I was going to have to pursue this legally. It had become very obvious to me that both my dad and Jackson are unhinged, and I don't want them around me at any point now. Initially, it had just been funny to mess with them, but clearly, there's something very wrong with both of them. Because I can't imagine normal people behaving like this. So I had a talk with my lawyer and told him everything that had happened, right from the beginning. Of course, he already knew about the incident with my car, since I had posted about it online. And now, we are thinking about getting a restraining order against my family. I definitely qualify for it, especially after what happened today. A lawsuit will also be particularly helpful in bringing out the truth about my family, and I think that's really necessary at this point. People should know what kind of scum I'm dealing with because they really are the worst of the worst. So I'm actually looking forward to going against them right now. Update 3. Hey, so in my last update, I said that I was going to file a lawsuit and a restraining order against my family, and I finally did that last week. The legal proceedings have started, and I only recently discovered from a couple of old school friends that Jackson had apparently become a full-fledged drug dealer. And it wasn't even like he was selling weed to college kids. He was dealing with hard drugs and had managed to build an elite clientele for himself, like spoiled rich trust fund brats, or upper management folks from the corporate world. You know exactly the kind of people that I'm talking about, and I'm actually surprised that he was able to do this, but I guess it's a good thing that he's finally found his niche. I guess that's why he was actually jealous of me, because obviously, I'm doing far better than him in life right now because I'm a successful entrepreneur and he's a drug dealer. So even though he parties every weekend, it's nothing compared to the life that I have, and nobody is really proud of him. It's gonna be hard to prove that he is a dealer, but I'm sure that a bit of fair investigation will reveal everything in due course. Right now, it's just based on rumors, but I have my faith in the judicial system. And anyway, at least received an explanation as to how he was able to maintain the kind of lifestyle that he had without any apparent source of income. So that's what's going on with my brother, and I don't really think that my parents had cut him off at any point, because the last time that I saw them after our court hearing, they seemed to be pretty chummy. I don't think they would have been able to patch things up so quickly, especially if my dad had been telling me the truth about cutting him out of his life. Honestly, I'm just glad that I did not give my parents a chance, and I went with my gut feeling. They are truly terrible people, and I'm just hoping that when the verdict finally comes through, it's against them. So far, it seems like it's going to be, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. My lawyer and I are going to leave no stone unturned to make sure that they get what they deserve. I have the entire family on my side, and I also have a lot of friends who are willing to testify, if it comes down to it. Even my neighbors who had heard the wall getting punched repeatedly on the day that my father had visited are willing to testify against him. So at least I'm going to be able to get a restraining order against them for sure, and that's still good enough for me. About the rest of it, I'll deal with it as it happens. For now, I'm just really happy that I'm getting the kind of closure that I needed. I hadn't even realized how much pent-up anger and frustration I had within me because of my family until recently, and I don't know if this is the most productive way to deal with it or not, but at least I am dealing with it and confronting my feelings. So I'm pretty proud of myself and I know that this is going to work out.